What's up guys, Nasir coming at you with another fighting game video. I don't know why my voice is like shot right now. I was perfectly fine all day. I was at work talking to people perfectly fine, but like as soon as I started recording, I felt my voice like change a little bit, and it just happened like literally within 2 seconds of me hitting record. But I wanted to take today's video to talk about fighting games as a whole. You know, this is a fighting game channel. I've been covering fighting games on this channel for a while now, and as of recently, we've kind of been in a not fighting game renaissance, because we've had numerous fighting games dropping, and we've had fighting games we speculated and talked about, and we're like, okay, we should be getting these games soon-ish, you know. But like recently, we've had specifically a tag fighting game renaissance, because after Dragon Ball FighterZ, we really didn't have like another big tag fighting game. We had a bunch of single ones. We had, you know, MultiVersus came out, was talked about. Not saying that that's the big one, but I'm like, that's a fighting game that came back after Dragon Ball FighterZ. We had Mortal Kombat 1, we had Tekken 8, we had Street Fighter 6. We've had other smaller fighting games than those ones come out and not really make, like Sparking Zero, even though some people don't consider that a fighting game. We've had games of those type of veins come out and not really find an audience that was like super beloved, besides like Street Fighter and Tekken, you know. Mortal Kombat 2, but Mortal Kombat's divisive, and that game's ending not relatively soon, but it's not getting any more content support wise, as far as we know, from what Ed Boon or the NetherRealm account, one of them, said about it. But with the fighting game 3v3 era, Hunter x Hunter and then Impact, as you can see on my screen, is coming out on July 17th, 2025. 2XKL, we don't have a time frame for, but as far as we know, as of right now, we still got 2025 as the year we're going to get that, unless it gets delayed. Then we have Dokkan Fighting Souls, Marvel Dokkan Fighting Souls, if you need the full title, sometime next year, 2026. Then we got the Invincible Versus fighting game yesterday at the Xbox, what is it, the Xbox conference. Basically the Xbox's state of play, you know, how Sony has state of play, Xbox has their own conference and their thing where they drop games and release it. And the Invincible game came out yesterday, and everybody seemingly is hype about that because it came out, the trailer came out, and apparently it's been in development for a while. But another reason people are really hype about that game is because it is made by the Killer Instinct devs. So that's why people are really excited about that game, and I actually have some footage of that I'm going to show in a little bit later on in this video. And then lastly, we have the Virtua Fighter game, where we don't have a time frame for when it's coming out, but obviously we got the trailer showing it off initially. In like Virtua Fighter, I think, is a 1v1 game. I don't think that's a 3v3. But shout out to Fighting Game Dailies. These are all the upcoming fighting games, but like I said, these first the first four are tag fighters. We've not had 4 highly anticipated tag fighters going on in the similar-ish time frame in a long time, if ever. And obviously people are acting like 2XKO missed the boat a little bit, and I'm like, I could see 2XKO coming out and still being very popular. I don't think it's just gonna be a dead flop on arrival, because like I can see the game, because obviously what are they called, not Riot, League fans are gonna potentially be the lifeblood of this game for a while. And then Impact is up in the air how that one's gonna do when it comes out, because I didn't really fuck with how the game was with the little demo that they gave out. But at the same time, then Impact might build its own little audience to where it's like the Under Night in Birth of like, it's not like the mainstream fighting game, but it's still popular enough and people that like it enjoy it and support it. So it might be like that, I don't know. Marvel Dokkan seems to have all the hype thrown towards it, and then Invincible Versus has all the hype that Dokkan had, and is like, yo, this is another fighting game that we're heavily like wanting to see more of, and we're like, yo, this looks sick, or yo, this is like fire that Invincible is getting a fighting game, and a tag fighting game at that too. Is crazy. But it's crazy that we're in an era now where this is a lineup of games that we have to look forward to as fighting game fans, and it's like none of us probably would ever saw this coming. I for sure never thought we'd see a Hunter x Hunter fighting game. 2XKO we knew about for a while, but we don't know how that game's gonna turn out on release, so we still are kind of iffy on that one. We did not think we were probably gonna get another Marvel fighting game for a while, unless Street Fighter 6 ended and then Marvel and Street Fighter came back together. But we probably didn't think that, and I don't know anybody that wasn't an insider that knew about the Invincible fighting game, because Maximilian said that he'd known about this game and has played older versions of it. But I'm like, besides that, if you were just a regular casual person, you probably didn't ever think we'd get an Invincible 3v3 fighting game. So that's like crazy. And I don't know how many people were thinking Virtual Fighter was coming back. So like, just in the fighting game space as a whole, it's a crazy time that we're living in. It's a crazy time to be a fan of it, because before Tokon, Invincibles, and Virtual Fighter, the only thing we for sure knew about was Nin Impact, because that came out I think last year, that we heard about it for the first time, maybe 2 years ago, and 2XKO, which we've known about for a while, but that's gone on. That was like back when Multiverses had came back, when we first heard about 2XKO. So it's like we've only had these two for a while, but then now you have all of these ones in addition to it, and it just now stacks the roster and makes it feel like kind of crazy that we're in this era of fighting games for sure. And it's just a wild thing to think about, and it's wild to even think that we're here at this point, to where within the next year or two we may have all of these games, or at least all of them except for this one, unless these two get delayed, or these three, because we don't have this one either. But yeah, I just wanted to make a video talking about it, and if you want to let me know your feelings and comments down below. It's crazy that we're here at this point in time. It really is, because for a while fighting games had nothing going on besides the big three: Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, and Tekken. And depending on what side you're following, whether it's Mortal Kombat or Tekken, people had split feelings on those two. So it's crazy, bro. It really is just crazy. But we got some Invincible behind the scenes gameplay that Fighting Game Daily also posted today. I was like, low key, I've not talked about this game that much, because I was gonna talk about it yesterday when I found out that this is from the KI devs, even though I've never played Killer Instinct. Let's watch it, bro. Let's see what this game got to offer. So let's go ahead and see.
Had enough yet?
I trusted you!
Fight.
Ready to bleed?
Free alpha footage.
Best suited for a fight.
And we did see a little bit of footage in the trailer, but this is like, I'm assuming 12 minutes. Wait, is that a... Oh no, this is like the developers talking. Okay.
Fighting game, in my opinion.
Let's do it!
Hold on.
I trusted you!
Fight.
Ready to bleed?
Invincible is best suited for a fighting game, in my opinion.
Let's do this!
It is
Like, damn,
very
that's
Mortal
awesome.
Kombat
Hell yeah.
brutal. Okay, hold on. This is what the HUD looks like. Very sleek with the characters at the top. They all do have separate health bars. That is something to note. You have your meters at the bottom.
In a bottle, in my opinion.
Let's do this!
Like, damn, that's awesome. Hell yeah.
These guys were able to execute lightning in a bottle in a way that I've never seen in the industry before.
Hey, it's Max. There's the 3 bars underneath the health bars, which we don't know what that's going to be for, but that's a mechanic seemingly that is going to be potentially for, like, if it's like Guilty Gear, maybe for like breaking out of combos and bursting, or a different mechanic.
It's so good.
I can't wait for the fans to play this game.
I'm not your son anymore! I'm the guy who's going to throw you off this planet for good. I love you, Eve. If you make me hurt you, I'm not holding back.
Okay.
My first impressions of playing Invincible Versus was a huge moment for me.
Hold on, I want to see what that said on the screen after the knockdown.
Versus
Ground bounce,
was
okay.
a huge moment for me.
So there's ground bounces, combos.
Oh yeah. I've had a lot of like really cool experiences. I've been on sets and
Oh, is this a co-creator for the show?
Get turned into TV shows.
Or for the comics,
To
I guess.
see the characters of Invincible in a fighting game, I don't know. It was so magical and so exciting. I cried.
Oops, I clicked the wrong button. So what I was looking at is the assists are going to have cooldowns. It says not ready at the top there on the top left. If you look where my mouse is above the words. CM, is that supposed to be like a crouching medium, a starter?
Cool and so
Shows how many
exciting.
hits you have.
I cried.
Stages look crazy.
I think one of the key elements to Invincible, be it the
counter.
comic or the show, is the insane and absolutely brutal fights.
Yep.
It's kind of our marquee thing, and we do these absolutely epic battles that you experience on your couch that hopefully are blowing you away. But this game is really the first time that you can actually experience these and feel them as you're living them. And to be honest, some of the fights in the game can get kind of more intense than the things that we've been able to accomplish in the show, which is really exciting for me.
Wait, hold on. Did that look like it knocked them off your
Experience
opponent?
these and feel them as you're living them. And to be honest, some of the fights in the game can get kind of more intense than the things that we've been able to accomplish in
Assist breaker. So there are breakers. Did that take any meter?
kind of more intense than the things that we've been
So they have 3 bars at the top.
able to accomplish in
That is the meter at the top. So that's kind of like Mortal Kombat, your breaking meter. So you can use it to call an assistant to get them off of you,
the show, which is really exciting.
or a knockdown off of that.
It's something that
Cross-ups.
dials up the intensity of action, the intensity of violence, the intensity of combat. And to me, one of the most impactful things in a fighting game is your first impression. And that's the thing that my brain always goes to. Like when you press buttons, when you do stuff, what is the response?
Dude, this big dude. Oh my god, that assist is crazy.
And yeah, watching a character, you know, a 3v3 tag fighter with so much gore, that's like the first thing that was like,
Okay, hold
wow,
on, now
this
that's
is
sick.
different. This is something I've never seen before.
Like
You can assist
most
work in the
fighting games
air, okay.
nowadays, you don't have the opportunity to create something completely new, right? Most of these fighting games that exist, they're very high in the iterative number of whatever their series is. And if you deviate from that too much, the fan base kind of revolts against you. They're like, dude, that's not my same
That's some real ass shit, bro. Because that, I feel like that kind of happened a little bit in Mortal Kombat. They're like, this Mortal Kombat tag fighter for Mortal Kombat 1 bullshit is like, they're like, no, bro, we want like Mortal Kombat 1v1 fighting. They're like, if you're gonna do tag, we want full playable tag characters like MK9. But even with MK9, which is why I love the tag concept, people didn't even play that as the primary mode. Cause like deadass to me, I never knew Mortal Kombat 9 was mainly a 1v1 game. I only ever played it at my homie's house as a tag game. So I never knew that it was a normally 1v1 game. You're one character playing against another character, and assists were not the main game mode. But I forgot who I was watching. It was some Mortal Kombat YouTuber that was like, yeah, Mortal Kombat 9's like tag mode wasn't even like the most popular thing on there. And I'm like, that's wild to me because that was the best thing about it. So that's why when Mortal Kombat 1, even though it's not the exact same, to me, cameos was fire. Because I'm like, bro, I've wanted a tag-based system in the game for a long time. Now, they could have made them fully playable, and that would have been even hyper, but I'm not mad at it either, to where I'm like, they shouldn't have had it in the game at all. I'm like, no.
game that I'm growing up liking. But in this opportunity we have, we can do whatever we want, right?
I think what the FGC is looking for.
Damn, they got Steve in there and shit. Max Steve. I wonder is Kenny anywhere in there?
Kind of similar to what other people are looking for. It's just like, give me
That is cool, because Max did say in his video that they did actually get a lot of creator feedback like they did with Killer Instinct, and I don't know what that's like. Also, I think it's crazy that this is Skybound, because Skybound's the company that was in charge of like the Telltale Walking Dead game, and I'm like, that's crazy, bro.
me something new. Give me something I haven't seen before. Especially people that are fans of Invincible, they're gonna be like, oh wow, I've never seen it in this light.
I am ending you. I see it all now.
See, I don't know anything about Invincible either, so I'm gonna have to, if I don't play this, I might have to catch up on Invincible just to like get this.
I'm the narrative director on the project. That means that it's my responsibility to make sure that this game is a kick-ass story, that all the characters sort of like shine through, feel authentic to the Invincible universe.
Cower before me, half-breed. Still is ready on a full-blood Viltrumite.
There's a lot of
Damn
fighting
voices.
and a lot of matchup that are really cool. It really works as a fighting game, but I think the coolest thing about it is that there's a lot of matchups that never really occurred in the comic or the television show, and you actually get to see those in a fighting game, which is really
Yeah.
exciting to me.
Building this game it was critical to be authentic to the IP. So when you take a character from the show or for the comics and you examine their personality, like the way that they move, the way they react to others, you look at what are the opportunities where I can translate that and really amplify it. A lot of times what we'll do is we'll break down scenes. We'll look at like, would they move like that? Does Mark have that ability? Would he do that thing? How would he respond to someone if they defeated one of his teammates? How would he introduce himself to someone new that he's never met before? Or someone he's quite familiar with, who he thinks is, you know, downright fucking evil. Sorry for the F-bomb.
One thing that I will say about that is kind of interesting is that that's kind of something that NetherRealm got really good at with guest characters, is that they will take shit from the show and put it in the game potentially, and it'll really feel like this character's in the game instead of it just being a shell of a cameo.
Most challenging in terms of figuring out our characters
cameo,
and environments
a roster pick
is how we make them feel unique. We do want the characters to have the same sort of body type, the same overall proportions, the same silhouette, but then at that point, when you get to that baseline, it's a question of how do I build upon it? How do I add those secondary tertiary details from the rips in the clothes to the blood stains to the smaller details in the hair and the facial features. We want it to feel like Mark through and through. And that's exactly why it's exciting, because it's a challenge.
Skybound is a really hands-on company, and it just adds a level of authenticity that I think is kind of unparalleled.
So we're still doing some polish on it, but that's probably gonna be one of the bigger ones that we do. We really wanted to stand out with.
That's amazing.
I got the Skybound, and I was catching up with Mike Willette, and I just said, what was the happiest time in your career? And he said, working on Killer Instinct, Double Helix Games, making a fighter with the most talented people we know.
I said, hey, Patrick, I want to start another studio, and I want to work on combat, fighting games, things that we love, things that are part of like our DNA.
And he's like, that's my dream. That's what I want to do.
We decided to call the studio Quarter Up.
Okay.
It pays homage to an era that we came from, like the arcade era. But it's really a statement that says like, we're here and we're up for the challenge. We got next.
I've been working with Mike Willette, our EP. I just watched season 1 of Invincible because he had mentioned, you know, maybe you should watch this. And I was like, the characters are there. They're amazing characters. They're characters that are going to really shine in a fight game. And so for us, that was a lot of the hard work is kind of, that part had been done already with the IP. Now we just need to make it. And so we started reaching out to everybody.
Essentially when Mike Willette calls, I pick up the phone. You know, he's a guy that I love working with. I was aware of Invincible. I was just like, oh my God, what don't they have? Kaiju, superheroes, monsters, an elephant man. I mean, it's just like throw a rocket and get something amazing. So it's good problems to have, right?
So when Dave and Mike reached out to me, I thought it was a pipe dream at first, but I'm like, oh really? They're like, is that a real thing? And I'm like, I am very much interested. Like, I am super down, like, I'm in, let's fucking go. And then that doubled when they told me the project, Invincible, as a fighting game. And I'm like, oh my God, because immediately as soon as they said those words in that sequence, like I just started thinking of what we could do.
Learning that all the same folks that put together one of the most impossible games, now one of the most well-received fighting games of all time, is working on another fighting game, it's kind of like a dream come true. The crew that put together Killer Instinct, that's now working on Invincible, is pretty much responsible for approaching fighting games with a different perspective. With something
what's bro name? Not Sajam. Is it Sajam? He looks, the dude sitting down on the left looks familiar. If that is Sajam, then okay. If it's not and it's another fighting game content creator, or if it's just some random guy, let me know. But I
Invincible
feel like
is pretty much responsible for approaching fighting games with a different perspective. With something that wanted to give agency to players that were on defense and offense, to have you have a level of mind games beyond just what's going on in that one specific moment. They want you to think of what happened before and what happened after a lot. That's actually in this game too. In a 3v3 game, you sort of like can touch the opponent once and they're toast, man. It's just, it's Kaputski for that character.
Oh, they fucking like get destroyed when they die. That's
really dig the fact that there's so much defense and offensive options in this game. But the commitment to having a full 3v3 tag fighter from, you know, a developer that hasn't done that before leads me to hope there's going to be a whole bunch of new concepts and things we haven't seen.
So that's the rematch screen. So we got rematch characters like, okay, generic stuff.
The process of building this team, it's been fun, but it wasn't just getting a bunch of all the old heads back together again. It's finding new blood, people that either are tied to the FGC or hyper talented and really passionate about their work and what they do and about the IP.
Fan art is actually how I got this gig. As an artist, I'm always gravitate towards characters that I find interesting.
That's a good model.
My relationship with Invincible was pretty much love at first sight, both in terms of the characters, but also just the animated sequences, storytelling, the world, everything just felt super unique. And one of the things I'm most excited about this role is the opportunity to take these established characters that you've seen in the comic and you've seen in the show and find a way to make them feel like an inherent part of the game that we're creating without jeopardizing what made them so great to begin with.
I've been a fan of
but I'd
Invincible
have to
since
play
I was
to get a feel for it before I make any judgment calls on
no,
the
I'm
movement.
old now.
It just
but
looks
I've been a fan of
weird
Invincible forever.
to see how they move
And
sometimes.
I've been reading these comics like since the beginning, and I just know them like the back of my hand. And so there's all these like little tidbits and things that I'll pick up on that you might not even ever think about. And so a lot of times people are coming to me with questions like where Mark can bleed from, like does Mark bruise? How much blood can we have? Like where is that blood coming from? It's usually the orifices. It's always the orifices.
Mark, action. Is that right? I don't know. Never got to do that before. I've done a lot of weird stuff, but not that. How I got involved with Invincible Versus is a pretty crazy story.
Mike here, Dave, also with Dave, and we're going to be doing an FGC first look, very first look with Rip. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Rip is in the house.
I got invited over to Mike's house, like it wasn't like a studio or something. So I go over to his house, I knock on the door, he opens it up, I walk in, they have a TV set up there, and it just says Invincible on. I was like, oh, damn, we're doing Invincible.
Have a seat, dude.
That's crazy way to
I saw it
introduce somebody to a
super
project.
duper early. Like, you have to understand, it did not look anything like it looks now. So originally when I first played it, there was only 2 characters. It was just Mark and Eve, and it was supposed to be a tag fighter, 3-on-3. And then I remember I went home and I came back for the next test, and I was like, you know, I had the shower thought where I was like, you guys are the KI devs. Why don't you guys bring some of KI into a tag fighter? Because that's never been done. So then the next one I get a DM from Mike Willett. He's like, this could work. He's like, you should apply.
There's a little blood again. Which is like so missing in all the team fighting games in general.
I'll take a sip of water when I goddamn feel like I need to take a sip of water. I don't need you directing me on when I take a sip of water.
I want to see the defensive mechanics they put in here that they're talking about. Offensively, they could put a lot of shit in
This
here.
is just
But
the
defense,
biggest
I want
and
to see.
best Invincible game that we've ever done. This is a huge fighting game that has a ton of really complex work being put into it to make it the biggest and best Invincible game ever.
So we're trying to put all of what we got into the game. Every dollar gets spent into making the game better. We love the world that's been created by Robert, Corey, and Ryan. And everyone understands the mission, like what we're trying to do. Like, and just bringing their A game, bringing their talent, like every day. We want this to be a tournament quality game that's played for years and years to come. So the way that we look at it is it has to have compelling systems and gameplay and hype moments. It has to have art that is not just evocative of the IP, but will stand the test of time on its own. When the FGC gets their hands on the game, what I hope happens is they get a ton of excitement. They get to see familiar faces that they want to dig into. And critically, I hope they go, oh, I want to lab this game. I want to lab this game for hours. That would make me so happy. It's not just the hype and excitement from like doing big combos or the brutality, but for them to really want to dig into the systems that are there. Because I think that's what's going to keep them there for the long haul.
Oh, that was sick. That was sick.
And I don't mean just satisfied or it's like, oh, that's great. It's like, no, it's got to be fantastic. It's got to blow people's socks off.
Just fucking die!
I definitely think that they have done a very good first impression of putting a lot of hype behind this. You don't put the Killer Instinct devs behind something and say that to people and don't now expect a way bigger bar of quality. Because if this is a brand new fighting game that nobody ever heard of behind some devs that we've never heard of before, it's like, okay, cool. It can be Invincible, but we don't know the devs. We don't know anything about them, so it doesn't carry that same weight. You say the KI devs are working on this, even if it's not the whole dev team, like a lot of them or a portion of them are working on this. Now it's going to be, oh, hold on. It's not going to be exactly KI, but we expect some crazy hype shit from the KI devs in another game. That's like being like, hey, Arc System Works, you made Dragon Ball Fighters, go make this Marvel game. Oh, bet. We've seen Arc System Works cook with Dragon Ball Fighters. Guilty Gear is still a really good fighting game. It's probably the best. Strive is probably the best selling Guilty Gear of all time, if I'm not wrong on that. But it's like, ever since Dragon Ball Fighters, Arc System Works has not like themselves quote unquote published a bad game. Sure, they've maybe worked with some companies on some games and the games didn't like translate exactly to being, oh my god, like this is the next big best fighting game. But like the name Arc System Works is as iconic with fighting games as it is because of what they have done. So it comes with a certain level of, all right, it has to be here and we expect it to be here. And if it's below there, you will have people very disappointed in you. So that's why they have a lot that they have to live up to. And I'm very eager to see what they come with, because they seem to be bringing in not like only top players, but content creators and people who are the like people that will tell you the casual and pro perspective, and not just, oh yeah, I'm a pro and I think I know what the casual is like. This is, I know. Max is the guy who has to make YouTube videos for the casuals. His whole livelihood is based off making casuals like the thing that they're looking at, being his channel. So I think he can articulate it potentially better, being one of the biggest fighting game creators that is talked about and known at this point. And if he can help you articulate it and get it to devs to understand it so that the game can be better, I think Max of anybody can do that better than like any pro. Because a pro can tell you shit that they would like, and it may align with what the casuals like, but at a certain point, there are going to be some things that a casual don't care about that a pro is like, no, we need this, because there needs to be depth to a game, but at the same time, the depth of the game isn't going to matter to everybody. So hopefully this Invincible game comes out, we keep seeing more stuff about it, and it keeps looking hype. Because to start off, unexpected, we find out the team behind it is a really good team, that people really love KI. So I'm like, hey, they got their work cut out for them. But if anybody's going to be equipped to handle it, these guys seem like they know what they have to do and they know what they want to do. And that's sometimes the hardest thing for a fighting game, having your identity and maintaining it / molding it to what the community wants. So like I said, I'm excited to see what happens with Invincible Versus and the other fighting games that I listed. And I'll see y'all in the next video. Like, video, subscribe if you're new. Comment down below anything you may want to say about any of these fighting games. And if I missed something, like I said, comment that. And I'll see you on the next one. Peace.
Little baby, you out, you know you was wrong. You lying, watch your tone. I'm too fine.